As new home construction fell 14.7%, during the month of March from the month prior. This is the biggest decline in 4 years, according to the U.S. Census Bureau. Now, that's not good news for home buyers who are dealing with already low inventory and mortgage applications in March. Although up from a year ago, it saw its slowest annual growth rate since September 2023, showing home buyers remain affected by high mortgage rates. So what are some of the best practices as we enter into this spring home buying season? We've got some tips and tricks from Tim Malone, who is the Douglas Elliman licensed real estate salesperson. Also with us, Mickey Conlon, who is the Compass New York City real estate broker. Great to have you both here with us today. First and foremost here, you hear statistics like this and really look across the market here. Tim, I want to go to you first. What are you hearing from prospective home buyers right now and how they're trying to combat some of the mortgage rates that are in the market right now?
Thanks, Brett. It's really interesting, and I think you have to break it down by price point because I just came out of a sales meeting, and that $1 million to $3 million buyer, which is our bread and butter here in Manhattan, they're really impacted by these mortgage rates. And the last couple of weeks, they've been creeping up. And what I'm finding personally is the buyers that need to buy right now. Those are the deaths, the marriages, the births. Those are the people that are really in the market. Everyone else is sort of waiting on the sidelines.
Mickey, what are you seeing in buyer confidence right now?
I agree with Tim 100%. The pent-up demand can only remain pent up for so long. So if you're an empty nester carrying a big place and you need to downsize, the financial burden of carrying that place eventually becomes untenable. And if you're, bursting out of a one bedroom and you have a kid or two on the way, you need to make that move. But psychologically, we're seeing buyers have come back to the market since the Fed announced its proposed rate cuts. And while those rate cuts have not really come to fruition in a meaningful way, the promise of those has helped to get us over the hump of the last couple of years.
Mickey, just to follow up on that real quickly, I mean, we've seen a lot of economists, those that we've spoken here with on Yahoo Finance, talk about the potential higher for longer and no cut scenario that we may see during 2024. What is in play at that point if we didn't see any cuts, and then how does that further impact what this spring buying and selling season looks like, even going into the later half of this year as well?
Yeah, so the possibility of no rate cuts is real, but historically, if we look back, the rates we're dealing with now are not terrible. We've been drunk on these very low rates for the better part of 15 years. And I remember years ago, back in 2009, 2010, telling buyers, you'd better buy quickly. These low rates aren't going to be around forever. And then it seemed like they were going to be around forever. And we were like Chicken Little and, declaring that the sky was falling. But people will move on. You can't wait forever if you need a new home.
And so, Tim, for those who can't wait forever, what are some tips that they can put into effect here and actively take to the table when they're negotiating or looking at buying real estate right now?
I think negotiating is the key word here. And that's what we're telling our buyers is negotiate the sales price, because sellers that need to sell right now are very negotiable, and you can always refinance down the road. But get that negotiation as best you can and find your apartment. And that's the other thing. Don't wait, because the demand is only going to increase as these rates drop. Right now is a tremendous buying opportunity here in Manhattan.
Are you seeing any flexibility, Tim, on pricing as those negotiations move forward?
Again, it depends on what neighborhood we're talking and what price point, but for the most part, most people on the market right now are negotiable, yes.
Mickey, how can people who perhaps aren't in the equation of buying $1 million homes, how can they negotiate like a $1 million buyer?
That's a great question. That's getting harder and harder. So folks who've sold homes in the booming market may have a lot more cash on hand, which means they can bid higher, they can put down more money, and they can edge out other buyers who don't have that wherewithal. So how to negotiate like $1 million buyer? I would say get your ducks in a row. If you're taking out a mortgage, get your pre-approval in place. Because this is a market, we have stunningly low inventory. And that means a lot of buyers are looking at the same place. That the same place that's perfect for you is also the same place that's perfect for a lot of other buyers. So be prepared, work with an experienced agent who can guide you. Don't go it alone. In a competitive market, you need all the help you can get.
Just lastly, and I'd love to get a response from both of you on this, a word of wisdom perhaps to some of the first-time buyers out there. We talked a lot about the millennials that are going to be entering into perhaps their first contract to purchase a home. What can they take into this buying process, especially coming off of an environment where the Biden administration has been talking about during the State of the Union address, all the incentives that have been put forward or attempted to be put into the market to have a significant impact for first-time home buyers? Mickey, I'll go to you first on that, and Tim, we'll end with you.
Yeah, first-time buyers are having a really tough time right now. The bump in mortgage rates has... the bump in mortgage rates and the decreased inventory has really made it difficult for them to be competitive in this market. What we would say for first-time home buyers is, again, to get a better understanding of what you truly can afford. Don't go all in, and if it makes sense, rent a little bit longer if you can, and wait until rates come down to a meaningful point where you can afford the home that you desire.
Yeah, it seems like I'm renting for as long as I can right now. Tim, I'll let you wrap up our conversation here with the last word.
My last piece of advice would be to talk to a lot of different banks and, again, find the best mortgage rate you can. Banks are being competitive, and that can change by the day. I've done multiple appraisals on the same apartment, so just talk to multiple different banks and get the best possible rate you can right now.
All right, really sound advice from both of you. Thank you so much for taking the time. Douglas Elements, Tim Malone, and Compass's Mickey Conlon. Thanks so much for taking the time.
Thank you, Brad.
Certainly.